Interior CS Fred Matiang'i has rubbished reports of downgrading of Deputy President William Ruto's security personnel.
I want to state here again categorically, for the record, there has not been any downgrade of the security of the Deputy President, period. So these banding words around really, honestly, is not fair. Why was this done? I explained to Mr. Chairman. I am willing to discuss that, but I can't discuss it in an open meeting. Because that is tantamount to sharing the notes of the National Security Council or the Minister of the Council in an open meeting like this, and I have no clearance to do that. Why and the background to this rearrangement, I cannot discuss in an open meeting because I'll be going deep into an operational issue.
Are you able to discuss in camera if you have clearance? Do you have the clearance to discuss in camera?
If you provide,
this is the committee that oversees the issues of security.
If you provide an in-camera proceeding, maybe I will discuss that. I will be able to explain the background to that. But I can't explain it in an open meeting like this because now I'll be moving into the realm of operational issues, and then my colleagues here, the heads of the agencies, will not allow me to go into operational issues in an open meeting like this.
The CS further disclosed that the DP is the most guarded citizen in Kenya, having a total of 257 security officers.
You will notice at the end of that document that the current holder of that office has got the highest number of personnel to be ever assigned in that office, and also the highest ranking police officer to command that protection of the current holder of the office.
Total, Ruto's security team has surpassed the combined number of security personnel of vice presidents Kenya has ever had since independence.
Honorable Jaramogi Oginga Odinga had 30 officers. Honorable Joseph Murumbi had 22. Honorable Daniel Arap Moi had 34. Honorable President Mwai Kibaki had 26. The Honorable Josephat Karanja, 22. Honorable the late Professor George Saitoti, 30. Honorable Musalia Mudavadi, 22. And Honorable Michael Kijana Amalwa, 22. Honorable Mudi Awori, 22. Honorable Raila Odinga, although he did not occupy that office when he was Prime Minister, had 57. And Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, 26. The current holder of that office, the Honorable His Excellency Dr. William Ruto, has got...
He said that securing His Excellency the Deputy President is structured in a three-layered order.
Contrary to what, has been going around in public spaces and comments and some irresponsible discussions that the Deputy President doesn't have protection, he does have protection because the team that protects the Deputy President is the presidential escort.
Having said, Chair, I have just one or two questions, Chair. First, Chair, according to the document provided by the Minister, and you see, Chair, government is run through traditions and precedents. And the previous traditions and precedents, Mr. Chair, have shown that the former holders of the office of the Vice President or Deputy President had very few numbers of policemen or women, 22, 24, 12. We're dealing with a case of 257 here, Mr. Chair. 257, Chair. Chair, where I come from in my constituency, the last census, the population was 204,000 people. And the number of police officers who are there are not more than 70, 80 in my constituency. When I divided that by this 204, one police officer is guarding 3,300 people in a day. Especially the night is worse. One policeman is guarding in my constituency 3,300 people, Mr. Chair. And here we are discussing 257. My question actually is not about the law now, because we have all agreed there is no law that guides how to assign a policeman to VIPs. But it's a question of morality. I want to ask the minister in charge of security whether this is moral to give one person 257 and people in my constituency have only 80 police officers.
One person has 257 officers, Chair, meaning 254,200 Kenyans are exposed. And this is a person who calls himself a hustler. What happens to the hustlers who are in Korokocho chair? What happens to the ordinary Kenyans who live along the borders, especially where I come from? That is for the CS. Just a question to the IG. CS, you told us there is direct request from the VVIPs or the deputy president to the IG. All these officers who allocated him, was it your predecessor IG or it is you? If it is your predecessor who did this, then I understand you want to now do rearrangement or change things. So maybe you can tell us, was it your predecessor who did this mess, or it is you that you want to come and correct this mess?
The Interior CS further explained the DP's security is multi-layered, with the inner layer having 121 officers from the elite presidential escort team, which has remained intact. The Interior CS further said that Layer 2 protects the physical building, housing the DP and offices including where he has interests that has 121 officers. Matiang'i added that the DP luxuriously enjoys the services of a further 51 officers who are in charge of a number of Ruto's private properties, including Weston Hotel. The CS added that Ruto is also the country's DP, having the highest level of trained and qualified officers managing his security. Matiang'i's statements have also given the public that has always believed that Deputy President William Ruto was a hustler a view of details of massive multi-billion property allegedly owned by the DP and received state protection from multi-agency security units. In an exclusive statement, the CS has exposed a list of properties that are owned by Deputy President William Ruto. Matiang'i exposed the list while giving details of the number of police officers who have been assigned to Deputy President William Ruto. According to the list, the Deputy President William Ruto owns 15,000 acres of land in Laikipia County, 2,537 acres of land in Taita Taveta, and 395 hectares of land in Transmara. The Deputy President also owns 5 helicopters, which occupy 2 hangars at the Wilson Airport. According to Matiang'i, the Deputy President had the biggest list of guards allocated to him. The Kitengela gas station has 6 police officers. Weston Hotel has 4 police officers. Murumbi Farm in Transmara with 395 acres has 6 police officers. ADC Laikipia Mutara Ranch with 15,000 acres has 6 police officers. Dolphin Hotel Mombasa with 3 hectares has 6 police officers. Mata Farm in Taita Taveta with 2,537 hectares has 6 police officers. Private residence at Elgon View in Eldoret has police officers. Koitalel Poultry Farm in Eldoret has 4 police officers, and private residence in Kosachei in Eldoret has police officers. However, hours later, Ruto's Secretary of Communication David Mugonyi dismissed the tabled report. He said, and I quote, "To understand Matiang'i's recklessness, many properties allocated to Deputy President in his statement to Parliament are in fact not his," Mugonyi said. Further, Ruto's officers say that the CS was wrong to compare the office of the Deputy President, which was created following the promulgation of the 2010 Constitution, with the security that was deployed to the previous holders of the same office under the old Constitution. He added that when Ruto assumed office in 2013, the National Security Council had already established a security model for the presidency and the constitutional office. Mugonyi has claimed that the CS has further exposed the DP's security threats by singling some of his properties, as well as casting adverse attention to the particulars of his security arrangements. He added that there are instances where the DP's security has been breached, which has caused anxiety, tension, and despondency among the locals. Matiang'i also accused a senior staff of DP's office who wrote to the Inspector General of Police about the exchange of guard for the DP, and before the letter could reach the recipient, it was shared on social media.
Let's just be very frank with each other, Mr. Chairman, honorable members. The Deputy President's residence is not a state lodge. It is not a state house. The law is very clear. It's black and white. It's a residence. It's a residence of the Deputy President. It's not a state lodge. It's not a state house. You know, there's some things which look or sound politically sensible, but frankly, when you go by the law, they don't. How would you come up and use phrases such as are being used and so on? The framers of the Constitution, you are the legislators. Give me a law to work with on this basis. Give me a law that designates the residence of the Deputy President and makes it a state lodge. Then, on the basis of that law, I will gazette it. You would, where in this world, just tell me, Mr. Chairman, where in this world would a holder of an office of chief of staff in a senior office like that write a letter and put it in social media before it even reaches the Inspector General of Police? Where? And then so on. You know, this issue has been characterized by some very juvenile activism, petty propagandism, and so on. And then the facts are lost in that process. And then we don't want, because we are respectful of the institutions that we work, we don't want to go that direction. And we are not going to respond to those kinds of antics.
For Maisha Prime, Maisha Television, I'm Bushabi Jr.
In a court in Matiang'i.